Hey guys, Mike and Matt with ABO Outfitters. There we go. Got one correct last week. I fumbled that one. But if you've ever had any interest in hunting Nebraska, today is an awesome day to tune in and really pay attention. We've got Ben Bakewell, Council Creek Outfitters from Nebraska. They have a lot of cool deer hunts. They've got turkey hunts. He talks through the way they hunt and the way they operate. He also talks about, the actual different seasons that they have, the type of land that they have. So super in depth, and it's definitely fun to hear about. He also was a sheriff, so he's got a little mid podcast surprise. So that's always fun to tune into. So
impromptu.
Thanks for joining us today. It's going to be a good one. Stay tuned. Hey, we're live, boys. We've got Mike Baker and Matt Beyer with ABO and Ben Bakewell from Council Creek Outfitters out of Nebraska. Ben, thanks a lot for jumping on, taking some time today.
Absolutely, anytime.
Well, so we've got a list of topics we want to discuss with you and go through, but I guess first of all, give us a background of yourself, who you are, where you came from, and kind of what got you into the hunting world to start out with.
Okay. Yeah. I'm Ben Bakewell. I'm originally from Lincoln, Nebraska. I played college basketball in Nebraska and then got into law enforcement, and I'm now the sheriff of Nance County, Nebraska. And that's in basically deer and turkey country. I got into hunting with my father, hunting pheasant and quail. He never really was into the deer hunting or the turkey hunting. And I just kind of evolved from there. So
that's awesome. That's kind of a similar story to myself, actually, more of a waterfowl upland growing up. And
same.
That's just all it was. I mean, That's just it. When my dad had some time to get off and he got his moment to go out and hunt, that was it. So that was kind of bombing through the night to North Dakota and
100% the same. Yeah. We grew up every weekend hunting the birds the same way, and then you just all of a sudden transition to as you grow up, like it's something new. You want to do something different,
Right. So. Yeah. More things to get out and do.
Basketball player, huh? Geez, with arms like that, I thought maybe you're a pro wrestler.
I was just a skinny little basketball player.
Yeah.
Funny. Cool.
Well, so then, what kind of family? You come from a big family, small family?
I have one younger brother, and he sells real estate in Lincoln. And then my wife is actually from here in what we call in Nance County, south of the river. We have two major river systems that come through our county. And we actually live north up in the hills, kind of the upper part, and very heavily wooded, really nice area. So I kind of got into deer and turkey hunting just out of necessity. I mean, not really necessity. It's just they're literally right in our yard. So how it is.
Crazy. So then tell us, how did Council Creek Outfitters become about, and how did you get involved, and what's the story behind that? What's the origin?
Well, I'm the manager, and then I'm part owner, and then I have silent farm partners that have a lot of pasture and farming ground. And it just kind of evolved into, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can make this into a business, or we can make money off the land and I can make income for my family. And I enjoy doing it. So it kind of came about in 2016 when a major windstorm took my old garage down, and I got a really good insurance check for it. We ended up building our first lodge, and now we're up to 2 lodges and another big outbuilding. So we've expanded a lot.
Oh, very cool.
That's killer.
So do you guys try to take on multiple groups per weekend or per week, or is you try to keep it to one group per
It just depends. Deer hunting's so different. We usually run 2 deer sessions. So I have a first session and a second session for the rifle. And then the bow hunting's before that or after that. And then, of course, the December time line is for the black powder. Where it's really taken off is the last 2 years is turkey hunting, where I'm so busy with turkey hunting, I'm literally running hunters 40 straight days. And I try not to mix groups just because sometimes people are better hunters than others, and they can't figure out, hey, why are these guys having so much success and we're not?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, if I can take a couple guys for 3 days, and then maybe 4 guys for 3 days, the most turkey hunters I've ever taken at once was 15, and that was a rough time. So they got a lot of birds, but boy, it stressed me out.
I bet.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, sure, it's a guided trip, but at the end of the day, you still have to hunt. You still have to use your own instincts and ultimately pull the trigger or release an arrow or something. But so that's kind of a good segue. I'd like to maybe jump into the differences in trips that you offer, and then also, the Nebraska specifics on seasons and different animals that you guys target.
Okay. I guess I could start with turkey. We have basically, Nebraska's fortunate enough to kind of be in the triangle where we're at for turkey. So we have the pure white tip Merriam that everybody's after for their Grand Slam. We have what's called a hybrid Merriam, which is more of a real like caramel tip bird that generally it'll run a few pounds bigger. And then we have very few Rios, but we do have a few Rios in our area.
Nice.
Even though the map says that we don't, I'm telling you that we do have every year we shoot at least one.
Yeah.
So it's just different hunting. So when guys come from down south or heavily wooded areas where literally I try to take a step back with them and say, okay, now you guys are sitting on the edge of wood lines that are looking at openings instead of being surrounded by trees where you're seeing very little. You literally can be up on hills in our area and you can see 2 miles. Now that can be a blessing in a turkey because if you move on, they're going to see you and bolt.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain guys to use terrain to get around the birds and get in front of them. And you really got to think a step ahead and not let the birds come to you, but you have to be able to go to the birds. And if guys are struggling, I'll go with them. And usually we can get it done in the first day. Mm-hmm. So
do you get
this year was a lot different because the weather it was up and down. One day it was 80 degrees. The next day is, 40 and snowing, sleet, snow. It made it for a real tough time. I think we got 28 birds total this year, and usually we do between 30 and 40. So
that's a ton of birds. How many tags does a hunter get for your region?
2 tags.
Okay.
You can get 3, but ours is a 2 bird limit. And then if we are doing good and towards the end, I don't want those first groups of guys to come in and just lay waste to all the birds. So you got to be able to spread it out. And a lot of times if I'm seeing the birds, if we've shot what I think we can manage, a lot of times I just won't have any more guys come in, and I do the same for deer. So I've actually turned down black powder hunts because we had such a great bow and rifle season where we got the targeted deer that we wanted, and I didn't want to, bring guys out and just take their money. Right. I think that's how you really aim as far as in the business. So,
right. What's like, how diverse across the country, how your clientele, are they coming from all ends of the USA, or mostly Midwestern local, or?
I get a lot of rifle and bow guys from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, Indiana. I get quite a few, and some from New York. And then most of the turkey hunting is, I've learned in the 6 years of doing this, is religion down south.
Yeah.
And most hunters are from guys from down south. Cool. And west, I've had 2 turkey hunters come from Colorado, and I think they're coming back next year or the year after. So they were great guys too. And that's as far as west I've gone. I'm not holding anybody else out from the west.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting.
That's awesome. So yeah, you run obviously the spring hunts, but do you run turkey hunts in the fall, or does that just get a little bit too hectic with the deer?
I did. He did. Sorry, I just had a call come in. Did that interfere with anything?
No, you're good.
No, hopefully we didn't interfere with anything on your end. This isn't as important as a sheriff call coming in.
No, those. I did have a guy, he did do turkey hunting in the fall with he got his buck the first day, and then he was sitting around camp and he wanted to go out and shoot turkey, and he did get a hen and he did get a jake. and they basically just walked right to him underneath of a heated insulated blind, and he got 2 birds.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
the hard part with winter is, I mean, they're not as active, they're just going to that feeding spot. It's a little bit harder to pinpoint them. Like I can put somebody in a general area, but it's not like you're going to call birds into a decoy.
Yeah.
So that's realistically the only time I've ever had a winter hunter. So
Got it.
Gotcha.
and
So
but I take hunters during deer season. No, we don't. I don't want people walking around when there's literally the places that we have. There's a lot of places that have no human scent. Like I don't even go into, and I think if you start treading into those heavily, that you're really going to throw your deer pattern off, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, let's dig into the deer a little bit. What's the layout of the land? You got the parcels, the farms, and what's the volume of acreage that you guys are hunting with underneath your outfit?
Oh boy!
and when does Nebraska season start?
Bow starts September 1, and then your rifle generally will start around that November 13th-ish time.
Yep.
Okay.
The rifle runs for 9 days right during the rut, and Nebraska's a very friendly state for out-of-state hunters. There's no draw for tags. It's
Right.
speed.
Right.
So as long as we're loop east, we're still not out of tags by any means. So if you signed up with me today, you could go online and get your tags. And you realistically, my hunts are a one buck hunt, but I do have guys that come in and just do double hunts, and then they buy 2 tags, so they get their loop east tag and they get their statewide tag, and you can actually rifle hunt 2 deer from being out of state.
Very good to know.
That's awesome. So I'm sorry I interrupted there. So let's just jump back to Matt's questions on, the lay of the land and some of that specifics regarding your property and.
Right. If like we were a hunter that's coming down to your outfit, like what can we expect of options or different, like how's it work coming in?
It just depends on the standard questions I ask people are what are your capabilities? How far can you shoot honestly with yourself? Like obviously I'm on a special response team. I know I can shoot decently out to 600 yards very easily with the setup that I have, and I practice it. But as long as you can shoot within that 200 yards, I can get you in a spot that'll work with you. If you can walk, some of the places are a little hard to walk into, but most of them, even if guys are handicapped, we can drive you right up to stairs in a heated insulated stand. And the layout of the land is very rugged hill country is what I call it. We do have some cliffs on the Council Creek where my house is that are literally over 100 feet tall. And they're straight down. Oak forest, most of it's all oak on the outside with open pastures, cornfields, milo, beans. We also have a mix of what's called CRP grass, which is big blue stem, and it does hold a lot of deer, a lot of birds.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of doe bed in them. You'll see a lot of bucks chasing doe through them. So
pretty different.
We got a little bit of river bottom. We got 2 different creek systems, the Council Creek and Plum Creek that we're on that feed into the Loop River. So we're basically the upper north part of the Loop River Valley is what I would say we are.
Awesome. Yes. And you guys got a little bit of everything where you got the food, you got some terrain, but you also have the creek bottoms. And that turns out to be dynamite.
But we have big chunks though. A lot of the times you get guys and they're like, well, how much ground do you have? I have somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 acres, but I also have areas where we control 2.5 miles solid. And probably the smallest farm I have is a mile by a mile. So over 600 acre farm.
Yeah.
That's
big. And you got to do that to be able to kind of, control your neighbors. You don't want, some of the best ground I have, I lease the stuff around me just so nobody hunts it, honestly, just to keep people away from my fence lines and to keep people off of it. So,
right. Help manage your herds then too, for your clientele and your target bucks.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's hunting, but you don't want to make it all about money, but at the end of the day, those animals for you, they have a value in a financial sense. Like it's a real thing. And so, there's always going to be people that push the limits and neighbors that do it. I'm sure you've run into that even, but Yeah, that's something that's got to be frustrating. But, and the other thing is I've found that sure, a lot of ground is great to be able to hunt, but it's got to be the right ground. And as long as it is, it can be 10 acres, but it's the right 10 acres. That's a little travel corridor or something. And
give me 2 seconds. I just have a work thing real quick.
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a lot of acres. Walk for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I have to go. I have a guy that's on a bridge that might be trying to jump off. So can I?
Yeah. No, that's way more important than us. So we get it. Thank you for serving.
Get back in a half hour to an hour and we could start this up again if that works.
Yeah, we could definitely dive back in.
It's all good.
Gotta go.
Don't worry, Ben.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Okay, we're back on. We're back live. The last time we were on with Ben Bakewell from Council Creek Outfitters. He is also a highway patrolman, so he had or sheriff, sorry. But
yep, sheriff.
Yeah, sheriff. So you had a bit of an emergency to jump off and get to. So without much details, I mean, you want to quickly just chat through what that scenario ended up being?
Oh, everything was fine. An individual just trying to walk home. The problem was he was about 5 states away. So we got a stop.
Missed a stop. Not in Kansas anymore.
Hurry up, get out of my county as quick as possible.
Well, at the end of the day, a podcast and talking hunting doesn't matter. I mean, the job you do on a regular day-to-day basis, being a sheriff, that kind of stuff is super important. And as we saw right in the middle of doing a podcast, I mean, there's real life things that come up and happen. And, we appreciate everything you do for one, but I know the folks of your area do as well, I'm sure. Yeah, it's, that's just got to be, every time you leave the house, you really don't know what you're walking into and what the situation could be. So do you want to share a couple other crazy stories or anything that you've run into?
It just depends. We're part of an SRT team as well, which is a 6-county regional rapid response team to major emergencies. I wouldn't call us a SWAT team, but we do have a lot of capabilities that are in that realm. Unfortunately, a lot of the calls we've been called to lately, before we even get there, the individual is either given up or committed suicide. So unfortunately, the one that kind of wasn't very good. And I don't know, we were probably 3 or 4 miles away from him. He was a veteran and he ended up committing suicide. So that wasn't a very good day. And that was, about a month ago. So,
man. Yeah. I mean, that's tragic no matter what. I mean, thankfully nobody else was hurt, but at the end of the day,
right.
hate for that to happen. And especially, being a veteran of any kind. I didn't serve. I'd certainly have family members and friends who have,
right.
But there just seems to be more and more and more struggle, and the mental health side of the world just needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's one of those deals you really just don't like going to. Yeah. So, and your heart breaks for the family and your heart breaks for them, because there was definitely other ways, and we were hoping to resolve it. I mean, our number one function is preservation of life. And when that doesn't happen, it's just not a good day. So,
right. Yeah. Just when you think that, everybody's everyday life is fairly normal, fairly manageable, and they're getting by, they seem fine. You just never know. And I guess the moral of the story is to just check in on friends. And if somebody displays some signs, you get them help. I don't know. You try your best, but anyways, on to a lighter, more fun topic. We were just starting to dive into Council Creek, the different trips that you have, and the style of hunts that you run. So maybe just run through a couple of those, the hunts, the trips, the lodge, what Council Creek is all about.
Right. We started out with just one smaller 30 by 30 garage that had living room, bar in it, bathroom, a few beds. And now we've kind of expanded that to a bigger garage that holds all of my hunting stuff. And then another small outbuilding that has more beds in it. So we're not a big corporate outfitter by any means, and I take very limited amount of hunts. I think this year we took 25 to 30 turkey hunts, and this year with rifle we're taking 10 hunters with rifle and just a very few with black powder. I don't like to overbook stuff, and I've actually canceled trips where guys were coming just because the way I figure is cameras don't lie. And when you're running, 25 to 30 cameras at all time, and if the cameras are telling you that you don't have the deer there right now, to me, it's kind of taking advantage of people and taking their money if I know that the deer probably aren't there. So
right.
I think guys do appreciate that. And kind of the number one thing we strive to be is just honest.
Yep.
So I could have taken a group for, a $20,000 black powder hunt, and I could almost promise you that they wouldn't have seen any deer that would have been worth their time at that time. We had a really good rifle season. We took the targeted deer we wanted to take, and there just wasn't much left that I wanted anybody to even shoot at. So,
right. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, sure, it's a business and there needs to be money made,
right.
But at the end of the day, I think that the honesty and authenticity of you telling somebody, hey, I'm not going to take your money, I'm not going to have you come hunt, because there's not the animals to support it. We just had a lot of our deer get killed during the rifle season.
Right.
They're just not showing up. That's an incredible thing, because there's a lot of people that do the opposite. And so I think that's probably why you keep growing and growing and growing. So
yeah, I've heard horror stories from hunters that have came into camp, and one of the guys said, yeah, I paid for a hunt out west in Montana, and I showed up and I was at an intersection on a country road and there was nobody there. And he tried calling the guy back on, an $8,000 hunt, and nobody was there and nobody responds. So somebody obviously just stole his money. And then I've heard stories on, outfitters telling guys, yeah, you're going to be the only, there'll be two of you, and they show up and there's 30 guys in camp, and they go out to their stand, hang their bow hook, and that tree's had 60, 70 screw holes in it already. So to me, good hunters are going to know if somebody's being honest or not.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So with that said, at any given time, how many guys are in camp? And then what's the style of hunting that's typically taking place?
Basically, I don't like to mix groups. So for my first rifle group, those guys have consistently been with me for 5 years, and they buy my first half a rifle, and they hunt with 6. So I have them full. Plus I have somebody working for me to help, drive, gut, skin, get everything ready. My second group, I left it open for them. They've also hunted with me multiple times, and they're one group, and they were only bringing 4 this time. And I said, that's fine. I said, don't just fill it with people who don't know how to hunt. That's the last thing I want is, somebody shooting the smaller deer as well. Yep. So it's very family orientated. So my kids are running around everywhere. That's just the way it goes. When a 5-year-old son, a 8-year-old daughter, and 10-year-old daughter, my wife's cooking the food, and our house is literally right next to one of the lodges, and then it just kind of goes down the hill from there on the creek line. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, we don't do, like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing the big corporate thing. Obviously those guys have it figured out and they're doing it full time. But
there's plenty of those that are honest, authentic people that run a ton of hunts. But
right,
to do it your way is also something that's a little bit more special, a little bit more unique.
You get the same questions all the time from guys that call and ladies that call. I'm actually having a lot more ladies calling booking hunts now than I did in the first couple of years we were doing this. And I think that's because they know it's a friendly atmosphere. There's not going to be 30 people in camp. It's their group only.
Yep.
Just kind of, again, what I said about being honest is you just have to tell people what you expect, and you want to learn what they expect. So we tailor hunts to them. I always ask the same questions, are you allergic to anything? Because we're cooking all of our own beef, chicken, everything on site. We want to make sure that they're fed well and they have everything that they need comfortable. The main questions I get from people is, well, how much land do you have? Because, this outfitter has 300,000 acres. I'm like, that's great. They have 300,000 acres.
Yep.
Do you really realize how many square miles that is? That there's no way that you can ever really know everything on that much ground, in my opinion. I mean, maybe there are guys that are better than me, but we have right now. I co-op with a lot of farmers, and our farms are usually about 1 to 2 miles in total. I really feel you need to control a whole mile to really know what the movement is and keep those deer where you want them. So I think we're between 5,000 acres for deer and about 7,000 acres for turkey. And I'm always looking for more turkey ground. You can never seem to have enough turkey ground.
Yeah.
So
that's still, I mean, that's plenty of ground, especially when it comes to deer hunting. So then, as far as the actual hunts go, rifle, black powder, bow, whatever it is it mainly tree stand hunting that you've already set? Are guys bringing their own stuff? Are they out midday spot and stock? What does that kind of look like?
It just depends. Some of my bow hunters who their bow hunters are very picky. I am not a bow guy. I will be the first to admit I have no knowledge really about bow hunting. They come in, they hang all the stands that they want. I don't let anybody hunt them until after they're done. Everything they have is Millennium lock on, and they are pretty much experts in it. I let them do their own thing. But you got to remember, they turkey hunt with me. They bow hunt, rifle hunt, and black powder, depending on their work schedule. I do have other stands for bow. I'm running about 20 plus bow stands now that I've had other guys help me who are real good bow hunters put in. I'm a rifle and black powder guy. So I've got 6 insulated heated stands on telephone poles. Cause in Nebraska, you gotta expect the worst weather.
Yep.
We've actually had a hunt where guys literally had to sit there for 5 hours because it was in the middle of a blizzard. And I said, I'm not going to be able to come get you. So just run your heaters and you're going to be fine. Yep. And that's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. I can't
have coffee and snacks.
You if I can see. So you just have to, they're only 1.5 miles away from the house, but I couldn't get to them. It was too big of a blizzard. So multitude. We have guys that hunt out of tree stands and during rifle and black powder. It just kind of depends on the area. There's places that are so rugged on our ground where I can't get a telephone stand in, like on the big poles. So we have mobile Millennium soft stands in some places. We've got, and I am not sponsored by Millennium at all. I'm just telling you, in my opinion, for big guys, they're the most comfortable stands there are. They're definitely all day, and we've got some rifle tree stands of those as well. So,
okay. Yeah, I've sat in those. Those are comfortable stands for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've switched over to, just because they're rugged. They seem to hold guys a lot better, and guys are more comfortable all day. So
awesome. So then, yeah, I mean, I think last time we spoke a little bit, but then so the morning breaks, you're sitting in a tree, there's not much moving. Depending on guys in camp, are you then able to be kind of flexible? Are you able to kind of go check out certain parts of the property and hunt as you see fit?
Yeah.
Or what does that look like?
Absolutely. Usually I don't like putting more than one person on per mile. So when you control those big areas, there are places that are definitely better in the morning. But the nice part about Nebraska, pretty much our whole rifle season is during the rut. So you need to be in a stand all day. Mm-hmm. A lot of our big deer get shot between, it seems, 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
I have found that in my own personal experience as well. I really have.
It's just, I tell people you're not coming in for lunch. And if you don't like it, then I can't guarantee you that you're going to see what you want to see.
Right.
And most of my hunters are diehard hunters, and they sit all day. Yeah. So we pack them a lunch. They take it with them. If they're really stumped to not seeing anything, I'll move them. I don't like moving guys during rifle. Bow to me is a little bit different. We trust trail cameras. So if a trail camera is telling me, hey, this stand's real hot in the morning, it's not nearly as good in the evening, we'll let them sit in the morning, maybe pick them up at noon, let them grab a bite at the lodge, and then take them out to a different stand in the afternoon.
Right.
So our drive time total is no more than 12 minutes anywhere we go. So we keep it real tight. I've had opportunities to buy stuff or lease stuff across the river from us, but it's 35, 40 minutes to get to the other side. And we just don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think about if you're out in our area, at least we're in central Minnesota, but even a mile here, depending on the territory of the ground, it just doesn't seem like that much. But, some of the ground and topography down there,
right?
I mean, there's just rolling hills and little draws and creek bottoms and river bottoms,
right?
Big bluffs and yeah, that's a lot of ground at the end of the day. If you hunting 1 mile by a mile stretch, that's a lot. So you can have a lot of great deer that are hiding in those little nooks and crannies.
Yeah. And I wish I was at the house. I'm at the office right now, but we've actually had like our CRP fields, which is big blue stem. It's probably 900 yards from the house is where that starts. And we pulled a dead deer out of that I think got shot or it got hit by a car. I couldn't tell. And I had it Boone and Crockett score, and it scored 183 total, and it was 167 official. Wow. And I never had that deer on camera.
Never even saw him.
But they're coming off during the rut, and that deer could have been 6 miles away 2 days before it got hit or shot or whatever. And you never know. And I don't like people to focus like, I'm going to shoot that deer. I said, okay, you got to understand that deer might not be where you think it is when the rut's on, but something else will be there. Now, that deer I showed you that picture of, I sent to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Daytime activity, just cruising.
I got 2 pictures of him, and he never stopped at anything. He just he stood there, looked around, and just took off. And I haven't had him back since. So I know he's in the area, but during rut, who knows? He could be 5-6 miles away.
Yeah. They just run. But the fact that he's up, in daylight hours now, that's obviously we're getting closer and closer. Those bucks are up checking some scrapes or doe bedding areas or something, and
right,
just checking, just making sure that when the day is right, the day is right, and they'll be running everywhere. But yeah, that's exciting.
Nebraska is kind of like your other Midwest states. It's one big grocery store for deer. So they're bedding down in the grass. It's in, the oak forest fingers, because we're pretty much all bur oak. That's full of acorn. And then I've got one food plot at the house. It's just all radish and turnips. And they're finally starting to get to that now that the crops are coming out. But then we're just surrounded by corns, bean, and alfalfa. And it's just all surrounding the cover and the water sources where they're at. So they really don't have to go far for much of the year. It's just when the rut starts getting on and they start cruising, which we're starting to see now. The corn's coming out. There's not as much cover, so they're really starting to focus in that cover, and we're starting to see scrapes and rubs.
Yeah, right. Do you ever go out and make your own, or do you just kind of let it all happen naturally? And
Yep, I have really good luck with just planting my own cedar post with a licking branch on it and then watching the deer rub it. And a lot of times they'll rip it off the ground. And one of the deer that was actually missed the first year, he actually ripped a cedar tree out of the ground, and it was stuck in his antlers, and a bow hunter missed it.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was a big deer. One of the rifle hunters got it, and I think that deer was 168. So, pretty good deer.
Yeah, great buck for sure. So then, okay, so it's so hard to put a number, and guaranteeing anything in hunting is impossible. But of course, that's probably what a lot of people call and ask. And likewise, we have a lot of people calling when they're talking about looking at a hunt or booking a hunt. Well, what kind of average quality do people kill? Obviously that can vary on a lot of things, but on any day given average, what would you say somebody going out and sitting each stand has a chance to see and or kill hunting at Council Creek?
What I truly guarantee everybody is everywhere you're sitting, there are deer that are over 150 inches that are still on that property or around that property. We average probably, it just depends, because guys up north in Michigan, where there's a lot more pressure, and they tell me stories like, hey, I mean, you guys have 110, 120 inch deer everywhere around here. They're like, we never see those deer. So if it's a trophy for them and they shoot 120-inch deer and they've never even seen a 120-inch deer where they hunt on their home place, I don't knock them for it. I mean, we try to have everybody shoot over a 140, 150 is what we go for.
Yep.
On average, we probably shoot between 125 to 140 on average would be my guess. But every year we get something in the 150s, 160s. Those big ones are out there. Nance County's had 2 deer. One was with bow and one was with rifle that were shot in the last 4 years that are over 200 inches. We get multiple 180s. I don't know how big that one I showed you on camera was. I'm guessing he's right around that 150 plus 160 is what I was thinking.
Yep.
So
that's what I would guess. That's kind of what I put him at.
Deer shot that side.
Yeah. Well, those are great deer. I mean, and the fact that anybody coming to hunt has an opportunity to the 150 mark, see and or hunt that deer. I mean,
right.
You can't be anything but happy with that opportunity. So,
yeah. And we've had, and I know I try to tell people, hey, like, you really need to be consistent about your shooting. I want you to be able to shoot comfortably 200 yards, but you need to know your gun. We've had hunters, I dropped one hunter off late, and by the time I got back up to my truck to open my door, I heard the shot. And that hunter missed a deer that was 170 it was only 60 yards. But they shot over it because of the angle bullet drop, and they're dialed in at 200, so they shot well over that deer. I've had people wound some big ones. I don't like it when that happens. We look really hard for it. The deer that we have lost that have been wounded, we've probably lost 4 or 5 that were really good deer over a span of 5 years. So,
yeah, that's always a bummer. But it's a reality.
Yeah, it is.
Yep, it's a reality. Then I know that just by talking to you and knowing your operation that some of the biggest deer have gotten killed in that early December black powder season.
Yep.
So what kind of things happen to make that perfect storm or that giant buck all of a sudden is up and moving, daylight, somebody kills them?
I think that it finally gets colder, and if you can magically line your hunt up to where there's 1 inch to 3 inches of snow on the ground, you're going to see those big deer. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. Those big
are
invisible and nocturnal. They come to food in the evening, no matter what. So the best we do is anytime that it's December, we're sitting on the edge of cornfields, guaranteed, because that's just, we can't bait in the state of Nebraska.
Yep.
But those big cornfields, especially the ones that do not have cows in them, are a magnet for big bucks, and you will see them starting about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, you know they get so worn down from running around and chasing, dogging does during the rut, quote unquote rut time period. That they need to literally lay all day and eat, and lay and eat and lay and eat. And those corn fields, man, they just, no matter what, not any time of the year, they just seem to just attract the corn. You get some snow, get some spikes. I think you're definitely spot on that. And
right,
it's just a matter of how long can you stick that sit out.
Yeah, and I usually only take groups during black powder, and I want them as close to that December 1st to 10th time period as possible. I just feel that that's when we've had the most real nice deer shot with black powder. We actually had a miss on a 4x4. And I was there when the guy missed it because I knew the deer was coming to that field. His buddy shot a 145 out of the same stand the day before, and that's the biggest deer he's ever seen. And he missed that. He missed the 4x4, and I bet you he was pushing that 150, 155 for a 4x4. He's probably 22 inches wide, and I bet he was his tines were all a foot. His brow tines were huge. So he was a really good deer.
Yeah.
And it happens. Black powder's a little bit harder. It was a fairly long shot for black powder. But he clean missed it. We followed the deer tracks. We saw right where he laid down. He missed him again. So,
well, at least it's a clean miss. Clean miss is better than a wound and a bad too far back.
Yep.
That's tough.
But that group is hunting with me during the second half of rifle season, so they're a good group of guys. And like I said, some of those, I get a lot of guys from Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Obviously, Wisconsin, Minnesota, those places in certain areas, and Michigan have big deer.
Yep.
But there's a lot where there's so much pressure. A lot of the guys I talk to, they haven't seen deer that are over 110, 120 inches. They say it's just so rare. And, it's hard for them to come down here, and the first day you're sitting in a blind. Well, here's a 110, here's a 120, here's a 130 within the first hour if there's a hot doe. So it can get pretty intense. There's days where guys will see 7,500 deer pretty much if they sit all day. They'll see those doe rotating bucks coming through, and it just depends. Like any other day, it's really, if we have 2 back-to-back bad days, it's shocking. Like if you have a day where you're not seeing much, you need to sit in that same spot the next day.
Just patience. That's what it comes down to. Is just patience, time spent in the stand and sitting, and that's just what I've found. And to your point, honestly, the couple of bigger upper class deer that I've killed, it's between that 10 to 2. They go bed down, they lay for a couple hours, and they get rested up, get antsy, maybe get the itch again, and they go up and they search those areas again or go chase does again. And all of a sudden at 10:30, 11 o'clock, noon, 1, there's just a giant walking down a trail right at you. It's like,
right.
That's just it. That's just the way of it. And I think, people that are going back to the truck and going home to sleep or take a nap and have a bite to eat, and you're just going to limit your chances. So, but what's the future of Council Creek? Like, what do you see going forward? What are your growth plans, or what are your, status quo plans?
I have no plan on getting any bigger. I'm comfortable right where we're at. Obviously at some point I'm going to lose key leases here and there. Just some of my farmers are older, something will happen and I'll just have to look for more stuff. But there's a couple of properties I have my eye on that I just don't know if I want to spend as much as what it's worth right now. Right. I don't want to get so big where I have to do this every single week and be full. My kids are at that age where they're starting to get into sports and stuff. And as long as I have the same good clientele come in, because honestly, I haven't ran into anybody that I really don't like. So there's really nobody I wouldn't have come back and hunt with me. I've gotten along with them all good. They seem to be all really good people. And I guess I've been blessed that way.
Good.
I was with a guy, the first season we sat was for rifle was 2016. And I sat with a guy from Arkansas, and the guy right across the road that was hunting with us, also from Texas, opening morning, he turns around. Here's a 175-inch 5x5, literally 15 yards from him, shoots him square in the chest, drops him, his hunt's over. Right when he shot, right in front of our stand where we were, real tall CRP grass, which is the big blue stem. It's about 5 feet tall. All of a sudden, here's a 160-inch deer stands up right in front of us at 30 yards. I mean, broadside, I can tell this deer's huge.
Yeah.
He's waving his antlers over the top of the grass. And I said, that's definitely a shooter. He didn't shoot that deer because he said, well, it's my first day. We've only been sitting for 20 minutes. I don't want to ruin my hunt. I'm like, that's what we're here to hunt, though. That deer, we might not ever. And we watched that deer walk off for about 30 minutes. And he said, maybe I should have shot that deer. And he ended up shooting one that was 130 on day 4.
They always say if you're going to kill it on the last day.
Morning, that deer did not hear us come in. We got into our stand, and that gunshot scared him, and he just stood up right in front of. I mean, we had no idea he was there.
Yep. If he would have just laid there all day, it would have never had a
probably clue. Unless the doe would have got him up. I don't know.
Right.
He was if you come in 160-inch deer stands up in front of you, I really appreciate it if you just put it down right there. It'd be great.
I'm not picky when it comes to you see a deer of that caliber. I mean, nope, no chance. You're going to kill it on the last day of your hunt. You're going to kill it on the first day of your hunt. So I'm an opportunist at the end of the day. Now, am I going to kill a little dink? No, but a deer in that caliber, whether it's 20 minutes in or not, I'm definitely shooting or slinging an arrow. So, well, we've got a couple of guys coming down this year, one for rifle and one for black powder. So he's actually going to bow hunt it, but I'm really looking forward to having them down. And I know that a couple other friends of ours are going to be down there too. And so certainly excited to follow along, see what you have this year and hear kind of some of the success stories and where,
Right.
I mean, as far as social media or websites, is there anywhere that you want to direct people to go and check things out?
Just go to our website. It's just a basic website. We're not fancy. Like I said, we're not a big commercial operation. We're normal. We're raw. So
Yep.
it's to us about the hunting. You're going to be comfortable. The last thing I want to hear is guys that aren't comfortable. And we've learned that from when we first started, like, hey, these stands suck. We got to get rid of them. We got to put new stuff up. And we always try to at least put every year a few $1,000s back into equipment as far as stands. I bought a big Can-Am side-by-side, which makes getting deer and moving people around way easier.
Mm-hmm.
We always try to put more money into the business than what we take out. And we're kind of getting to that point where we're leveled off where we need to be, where we can have a few successful years, and we're going to have to start thinking about, hey, these stands are getting a little bit old. Some of the wood's rotting on them. Let's start replacing them. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And like I said, it's honesty. You're going to see, you're not going to hunt anywhere I wouldn't hunt. When I look at properties that we have, I have them on a scale of being a 1 to 10. 10's an excellent property. 1's, just a bare field. We don't have any property, in my opinion, that's under a 9. So every property has everything. It's got the cover, it's got the food, it's got the water, and it's got a high traffic of deer. We have nothing that doesn't.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you guys obviously have heard it from Ben's mouth directly, but check his website out. Check our website out on our destinations page. Give us a call. Give Ben a call. You're going to go down there. You're going to have a great hunt. You're going to have a great family experience. You're going to have a place to have a bed, a shower, a warm meal. You're going to get transported to and from the stand. You're going to see a lot of great deer, have an opportunity to kill a great deer. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to end up booking again with them because you're going to be happy with it. So if you're in the market, if you're thinking about it, take a look, check it out, fire away with any questions, and just have yourself a good time down there in Nebraska. So, Ben, anything else you want to say? Otherwise, I really appreciate you coming on and your time.
No, I'm good. I probably should get back to my real job. So
Perfect. Well, again, we appreciate that being, you're out patrolling and keeping everything under wraps down there. But yeah, thanks again for your time. Seriously, really appreciate it. No, it's certainly valuable, and you're taking away from other things right now. So I look forward to following along. Good luck with the season. Go ahead.
One quick thing. I get a lot of guys that are real successful people that they love taking their dads out with them. We have tons of guys that come that are, in their 70s and 80s. I think the oldest guy I've had that's shot a nice deer is 86. We do have plenty of capability of getting guys around. They don't have to walk far if they can't. I can literally drop people right off on staircases that go right up into the stands. And like I said, you're not going to be in a vehicle for a long time. You're not driving an hour, 2 hours somewhere to hunt. You're literally driving 10 minutes. I can get you in the stand. You need a break, I can get you out.
Awesome. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Big time difference maker. And because, hunting with a dad or grandpa or somebody you want to be with that you've always hunted with, and now you can't because they're maybe a little bit older and immobile. I mean, again, back to what I was saying, it's a family first, it's an experience first outfit. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a good time. So look it up, check it out, fire away with any questions. And, I seriously look forward to following along. So great. Thanks a lot again for your time, and best of luck for the rest of this season. And I know I'll see plenty of pictures from a couple groups that are going to be down there and killing some great deer. Yep. So cheers. I appreciate the time, Ben.
Thank you very much.
Later, man. Bye.
Bye.